we have got to talk about next year's Hall of Fame ballot. And there are a number of names returning to the Hall of Fame eligibility list. And then there's a bunch of names that are their first time on the ballot.
That's
the first opportunity. It's a long list.
First timers
this
year.
There are 14 who have been on the ballot before, and then the list goes from 15 to 37. For you actuaries out there, that's got to be 22. So
23, because 15 is counted on there.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, 23. Don't call that comptroller on me. Here we go.
Well, and that's why we go to the That's why we refer to the actuaries on this break.
Exactly, because I don't do the maths. All right, I just don't do them. Let's go over the candidates, Hall of Fame candidates that are going to be eligible again, returning. We start with Todd Helton. And the reason we start with Todd Helton, it's his 6th year on the ballot, but he has received 72.2% of votes on last year's ballot. So just missed it. And
I think he'll get it next year. I think he gets in.
I'm just going to say, pretty good chance that we see Todd Helton in the Hall. The rest of the remaining, and I won't list off their percentages, but you can figure it out yourself. Billy Wagner, Andrew Jones, Gary Sheffield, Carlos Beltran, Alex Rodriguez, Manny Ramirez, Omar Vizquel, Andy Pettit, Bobby Abreu, Jimmy Rollins, Mark Burrell, Francisco or Burley. Sorry. Wow, I'm tired. I know who that is. I promise.
Have you reached the point, Brig, where you can call yourself exhaustipated? Where you're too tired to give a crap?
I hit exhaustipated days ago. Okay.
There you go.
But I was what is exhaustipated when you're also joyful and triumphant? It only happens at Christmas, because Christmas is joyful and triumphant, and when you have children like we do, you become exhaustipated very quickly. And this would be the other time in my life where I've genuinely had that combination going.
I'll have to noodle on that, and I'll have something for you later.
That would be great. All right, Francisco Rodriguez, that's fun to say, and Torrey Hunter are the other returning names on the list. Gary Sheffield, this is his 10th time on the ballot. That's relevant. Billy Wagner, 9th. Couple of interesting ones. Alex Rodriguez still has 7 remaining opportunities. This is his 3rd year on the ballot. Andy Pettit this is his 6th time, etc. Okay. First timers on the Hall of Fame. First of all, Brad, who do you think on that list gonna get in no matter what? Who not gonna get in this next class?
I'm gonna say Todd Helton gets in. If Andrew Jones doesn't get in this time, he'll get in the next year. He's gonna get in eventually, I think. I think that's really it. There is somebody who's a first timer who could have an impact on a couple of those guys on this list, and we'll get there.
Yeah,
I think in just a
minute.
I
agreed. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I'd love to see Andrew Jones make it. I think it's a no-brainer.
He deserves it more than just about anybody else on that list, I think. Yeah, I've been tooting the Todd Helton whistle all for years, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like Andrew Jones is more deserving than him even. I'm shocked he hasn't gotten in yet.
Really excited for Andrew Jones. Okay, here are the first timers. First name or first ballot guys. Okay, Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, Chase Utley, David Wright, Big Sexy Bartolo Colon, Matt Holliday.
Maybe he'll touch home plate on his way.
There it was. Adrian Gonzalez, Joey Bats, Jose Bautista, Jose Reyes. There's exhaustipated. Victor Martinez, James Shields, Brandon Phillips, Denard Span, Chase Headley. Oh, interesting. Giovanni Gallardo, Doug Pfister, Brad Ziegler, Ryan Madsen, Phil Hughes, Brandon Morrow, Chris Tillman, Jim Johnson, and Santiago Casilla. Okay, Brad. Who's the name that you think is going to be disruptive?
Okay, so the disruptive guy is Bartolo Colon.
Yeah.
Fan favorite, big sexy, right? But he has 2 PED suspensions to his name. So based on everything we've seen in the past with Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Roger Clemens, so far with Alex Rodriguez and Manny Ramirez and Andy Pettitte, Bartolo Colon cannot get voted in. But he has rehabbed his image enough that I think he will. And because I think he will, you know what that means? Is that A-Rod's getting in. Manny for sure is getting in if that happens.
For sure, if that happens.
Andy Pettitte will get in. Like, we could see a really big class because there's going to be a shift in the age and the mindset of the voters, because guys are going to be like, oh, we have to let Bartolo Colon in. He played for so long and did what he did for that long. Like, he's got to get in, right? So, and I will say, if Bartolo Colon gets in, those other guys get in as well. But I will not be surprised if Bartolo Colon does not get in because of 2 PED infractions, right?
The problem is they are confirmed PED infractions.
Right.
They're not. There's nothing ambiguous about it. It's not speculative in any way. There's no rumor mill with his name on a list somewhere.
There's no tapeworm excuse to go with him. Nothing. He owned up to
no motorcycle accident, an eczema problem, or whatever. No. No. This is a legitimate. These are legitimate problems in his career.
Yep.
And a wonderful career it was. And he is a fan.
And a long one. And a really long one, too. He did it forever.
Did it forever. And so, did it with panache.
Right. Okay. Like, the world was just ecstatic for him when he finally hit that homer. And
my word.
Said, if he gets in, it's going to change the entire paradigm of the Hall of Fame. And there are going to be a bunch of guys getting in who were not in before. And when it comes to the Culture Club, you can see Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Roger Clemens, those guys getting in.
Sammy Sosa, with the Culture Club. For sure. The Culture Club might get those guys in anyway in a handful of years.
Yeah, very well could. Very well could end up getting those guys in.
So, and that's the real question with the Hall of Fame here. What we have to discuss, and I think this goes without saying, but let's say it anyway. For the maybe it's the new fans that need to understand the dynamic here. But because there has been such a precedent set with these PED suspensions and even speculation around them having dabbled with anything related to performance enhancers, those people that we've previously listed are not in the Hall of Fame. They have been shut out of all of the voting. There has to be one of 2 things that happen. There's only 2 ways to go. Either the mindset shifts, which Brad has talked about, and if so, it's going to hinge on one player. And Bartolo Colon could be that guy. That's what Brad is arguing. Or everyone will hold the line until some inevitable point where we go back to example 1. Or the third example, the most extreme, I think, is that in some ultra purist and ultra traditionalist sort of homage to baseball and its history, everybody just decides to give these guys and the PED thing the Pete Rose treatment. And it's like, nope, you're done. It's over. Sorry.
I feel like A-Rod got less votes this year. He got 35.7%. I can't remember what he got last year, but I feel like it was more than that. That he's gotten less votes.
50s. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So where we thought that things were softening on these guys, it seems like things are moving back towards the hard line again of no chance. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but that's what it appears to be this year. So it's going to be interesting to watch.
Okay, so now we've set the stage, Brad. How do you feel about that?
About it going back?
Is this a regression culturally and as a sport and as a fan base? Is this the right direction to hold the line? Or what do you think, honestly?
I think it is. We've talked about this before that I don't think that guys who did steroids deserve to be sitting next to guys who don't. I understand that there were a lot of guys who did it, back in the day, and I know that there are some guys who snuck in from what I've heard,
That's
right?
the
That it
rumor.
was like that it wasn't widely known that they used steroids, but
Yeah.
they did, you know.
There's one
And
name in
so
particular that really ruffles my feathers when we talk about this with that specific detail.
yeah, me too. Um, but no, like I don't think that they belong in there, and I think going backwards. I don't want to say going backwards, but like going back and holding the line on this and being like, no, they don't deserve to be in because they cheated. They cheated everybody else. They cheated the game. They cheated their opponents. They cheated their team, and they weren't a team player because they're obviously putting themselves before. Because it was like if they got caught, then the rest of the team is without one of their best players,
Right.
right?
Top contributing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think that you make a really good argument often, and I've heard this from other people, but you've articulated it really well when you say that it's as much a museum and a historical record of baseball is the Hall of Fame as much as
Mhm.
it is anything else. But that's not its the museum itself is not its express purpose, right? It's not
So,
all the
and this is
way in. Go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say along those lines though, is that like these guys are still there. It's not like they've been like it's not like the 2003 Yankees won the World Series. Here's your roster. Oh, A-Rod's missing from that list, right? It's not like that,
No,
right? Like A-Rod's
we're
in the
not
Hall of Fame.
whitewashing
Manny
anything, or
Ramirez, yeah,
we're not
Manny
doing white
Ramirez
out.
is
Yeah,
in the Hall of Fame, but they don't have plaques. And the fact that they're
no,
there and you can see them, and but then like I take my son to Cooperstown in 5 years, whatever, whenever we get there, and he's like, "Well, why doesn't this guy have a plaque?" Let me tell you why this guy doesn't have a plaque.
hmm
You still talk about it. You talk about the merits of cheating and everything like that. And I feel like that presents a really valuable lesson for kids growing up playing the game. That like
yeah,
they can learn from their mistakes. They're still there. They're still recognized for their accomplishment of winning a World Series or setting some milestone, whatever. Like if A-Rod had hit 80 home runs, Barry Bonds has hit what was I think I lose track all the time, like 76, 77 home runs. Like
yeah,
it's
a
still
billion.
recognized in the Hall of Fame, but he doesn't
Yeah,
have a plaque because he was connected to steroid use, despite
yeah,
everything he said about it.
right. Baseball family, we want to know what you think, and maybe let's put this up on Versus Game, and let's really get a hard hitting poll going.